My name is Christopher Vergara, and I'm the Associate Costume Designer for Here Lies Love. And I got here at the invitation of our costume designer, Clint Ramos, who's designed this wonderful production. The show is big. In 90 minutes, like 180 looks sort of crash by the audience, which is, I think, what makes it so spectacular and a must-see. But you begin with her, with Imelda. And she is sort of, throughout the show visually, with the clothes, is where you're grounded about where we are on her emotional journey, but then also where we are in the Philippines. You know, she starts off sort of in a poor peasant dress and then beauty pageant dress, but then it continues on and she really sets the tone for the period, which in real life she did a little bit. She was a fashion icon, and she has over 16 looks in the show, so she is changing rapidly as the story progresses. The dance that happens in the backstage area with her, and then with all of the entire cast changing costumes, is really quite a feat for the crew. That, you know, they have a lot of work they do that you don't even see. And then figuring that out of what dresses need to go on and in which order for the quick changes and how all those things are rigged, and the engineering of all that clothes to function so effortlessly is really an amazing job that Clint has figured out. So there's been a production in New York, and there was a production at the National Theatre in London. So we have about 2 complete sets of the costumes. And New York and London have been gracious to share those with us for our production here in Seattle. And basically we get to pick the best from both productions and piece those together to do the work that we need to do here. So it's been racks and racks, and you can see we're sitting in racks and racks of clothes, and there's entire rooms full of shoes and fabrics and stuff, and we've meticulously gone through picking the best and pieced our production here in Seattle, which should be spectacular. And that's been quite the journey. The shop here has done a lot of work in preparing and organizing that so that we can come to this time where we are right now, where we have to fit 180 plus costumes in over the course of 3 days. So that's a lot of clothes to get on people in a very short amount of time. One of the most interesting things that some people who aren't so familiar with Filipino costumes are the women. You'll see they have, a lot of them have this sort of sleeve, this butterfly sleeve. And it's so evocative of the Philippines, and it's such a hard thing to figure out to do. You'd think there's all this wire and structure and all this stuff, but it just stands on its own from the way it's folded and sewn together. And you'll see that a lot throughout the show. You'll see it in the beauty queen pageant dresses. You'll see Imelda wear a number of versions of that sleeve. And so I think that's something specific that people may not have seen before. It's very culturally specific to the Philippines. Sort of my favorite pieces of the show, that Studio 54 number in the sort of 70s, late 70s, is really interesting. All those, how people would dress up to go out and party. And those are like really wild fantasy kind of costumes, and they just sort of fly by. From Imelda's track, there's 2 things that I think that are really spectacular. Right when the riots are happening in our story, Clint has designed this wonderful sort of coat dress that's wool and leather, which is such a forward-thinking fashion sort of notion. And it has this incredible, instead of our butterfly sleeve, it has sort of this shark fin sleeve. She does this lap around the structure, sort of like she's this shark, this predator looking down at her people and what they've done. So I think that's a wonderful place where the clothes and what's going on is linked together. The other place that's really wonderful is at the end, where she's high up on one of the highest points that the actress can get to, and she's in this wonderful, beautiful white dress with a butterfly sleeve, because, you know, Imelda was the steel butterfly. But then there's all this embroidery and lace at the hem of it coming up, which is sort of the blood. She wants this image of, I'm doing this for you, but in doing that, how much blood has she shed? And it's all in the dress, but in lace. You wouldn't necessarily attach lace to violence, but here we've done that, and it's really stunning. What I love about it is how the clothes are informing not only the time and are beautiful to look at, but sort of the emotion and sort of a little bit of the under subtext that's going on in the show, and it's really, really great to see.